The first week of LoL was a really interesting experience, and I think I learned quite a bit that should help out lots of people who are going to start playing this game. Not only because I've been playing games for quite a long time, but because I really did a lot of research and have a lot of friends and you guys subscribers that have helped me out quite a bit to get my head around how LoL is different. So I want to present to you the top 5 things I learned in the first week. Understanding your role seems pretty self-explanatory, but really it's important. In this case, I play vel'koz. I love this guy. He's really fun to play, but he is an AP carry. So you need to know what an AP carry is. It means this is a character that uses ability power in order to get his skills higher. And he will have a really kind of weakish, not really that powerful early game, pretty strong mid game, and then kind of a average end game. The purpose of an AP carry, in this case, is first to make sure to get rid of all the creeps. You want to take as many more creeps than your opponent, so that way you can level up faster, get better equipment quicker, and get to the mid game as quick as possible. Also, as an AP carry, at least in this particular one that I'm running, it's important to know that blue buff, you don't get the first one. At 155, the first blue buff goes to the jungler. At that point, at 7 something, that's when you get the blue buff. So it's one of these things that you should know enough about your particular, like the champion you choose, so that way you're able to be an asset to your team. So make sure you double dog know exactly what you're supposed to do as your chosen champion. One critical element that you have to have is you have to get comfortable with figuring out when to hit the minions to get the last shot. You don't get any money or anything unless you hit the last shot of a minion. So you need to really consider, okay, how am I gonna keep my character from moving enough to kind of slap that minion in order to get the money. Now you can use abilities, like in my case I'd use my W so that way I can fly like a whole bunch at one time, but as you can see it's kind of difficult trying to make sure you always hit every single minion. Now you need about 21 minion kills to get the same amount of experience as you would for a champion. So you have to really focus down on the idea of killing the minions. So in the beginning of the game, don't push tower, make sure that you basically farm the minions, because what you're trying to do, at least in my role as an AP carry, is to try your best to keep the other one, in this case it's Reese over there, make sure he does not have the opportunity to get as many of your creeps and you get more of his. Because the first person to make the money means you get more than he does, which means I get faster items, faster abilities, everything gets much better for my particular character compared to the opposite character. So focus on doing last hits to get your money higher. As a new player, you should also figure out what is the ability leveling sequence for my particular champion that I really enjoy. Now, by ability sequence, I mean if you go from level 1 to 18, at what point do you level which skill? So you might be totally different for your champion, so check it out. I put a link below to the guide that I used for my champion, and it's from Fire, League of Legends build, and then vel'koz. It's pretty good because basically you want to unlock your skills as quick as you can, but there's kind of lull times between. So in my case, if you see 1, 2, 3 unlocks the first 3 skills, which is pretty important, and then 4 and 5 mean we're just buffing my W. Okay, because that W is that one where I flip it out, it does an initial damage and then another damage wave a second later. It's really, really, really nice for clearing minions because you can do a ton of damage to minions. And then you get your ultimate at 6. And then back to the trying to max the W, putting a little bit into Q. So this is a very good way as a newbie to figure out what should you be focusing on as far as the skills. And a lot of these guides that you'll find online, if you're from a diamond or above person, I mean, these guys have played this game a lot and understand it way better than like I do. I mean, I don't understand this game very well, but these dudes certainly understand it better than me. So I suggest looking at your ability sequence and then taking note of how other people do it and try to copy that. Another very huge consideration is which items to buy, but more importantly is when to buy those items. Your initial starting items can change based on who you're going to be playing against. If you see Reese on the other team, you know he's going to be magic, so you could go with your Doran's ring, your health code to start. But if you go up against all melee people, you need armor, so you have to go cloth. And I think that playing smart as even a new person, even if you're just playing bots or you're playing new folks as well, is understanding that, okay, that other guy's a melee guy, so I better make sure I have armor or I'm going to get my ass handed to me. So you have to change your build and understand why you have to do it. So your core items in this case for vel'koz are going to be Athene's Grail, the Torment, and the Crystal Scepter. But let's say that there's a shitload of melee. I can't necessarily go for my original offensive items, like going for the Death Cap and the Void Staff. You know, I have to go a little different. So I have to get a Guardian Angel, a Veil, an Hourglass, and a Scepter. I mean, those are kind of where I'm going to be shooting for if I have to really be worried about actually taking physical hits from a melee guy. And that's kind of one of those things I've learned after playing, is you have to learn to be dynamic in what you're choosing and making sure to, even if, let's say, you get squeezed out of mid because you've got two assholes that won't leave mid, even if you're the one trying to take it. So now you have to figure out what you're going to do. So if you go top or bottom, your items need to change in order to make that work. So maybe you have to prioritize the Sorcerer shoes so you have a little extra movement speed to get the hell out of all the different places that people can come from. Getting more wards, making sure those wards are good and upgraded and the best you can get, so that way you don't have any surprises whipping out of the jungle coming at you. That's the kind of stuff you need to really focus on as a new player. They say to get good at anything, you have to take one thing you want to do and do it 10,000 times in order to be okay at it. Same applies with League of Legends. I believe you need to choose one champion you really like and just stick with it. If you don't really know, I mean, this is your time. You're kind of new to the game. There's nothing really holding you to a particular build or champion or anything. So take the time to go through and do the free champions. Go see if you like melee, if you like carry, if you like support, if you like jungling, if you like whatever. So that is your time. But as soon as you find that one champion that really sinks to you and really sees like what you want to do with this game, this is what you should choose, man. Pick that and just stick with it. Now, there will be times when, even though you love, and like in this case, I love vel'koz a bunch. He's a really, really solid dude. I love the high skill cap. But sometimes when you're doing character selection or your champion selection, someone will get him before you do. And then what are you going to do, right? You're going to sit there, complain and cry, or are you going to figure out what to do about it? No, you are going to figure out something to do about it. So what I suggest is having a support character as a backup. Now, you don't need to, but it makes it a lot easier because not too many people are going out of their way to pick a support character if, like, you lose your primary. And besides, it's a good exercise to figure out how to best get your team boosted and to understand how you're going to work with that team and support them, even if it's not going to be as your primary. So in my case, it's AP carry. I'm right there making sure to mash people down, scaring off the heroes so that way they don't have access to the creeps as much. That's what I shine at. But it is a support character. It's the same thing. I need to make sure to support my crew so that way we can win the round. So it's kind of taking the same thing you would be doing with your primary character, but doing it in a different method, so that way you have an opportunity to kind of better understand where other folks could be coming from, even though you lost your primary champion. So if you guys thought that was useful or interesting, why don't you put in the comments below what you thought, feedback or whatnot. I'm still learning the game, but I figured that this would be a real good explanation for, as a new person coming into the game, how I feel about the game, what it's like, how is it kind of different, and then more importantly, I'm trying to think about how I'm playing the game, so that way I can be a smarter player later on. Because even though right now I'm just playing bots or beginners or little folks, it's just what you got to do. I'm only level 10. I mean, it's going to take me a while to get up to 30, but I'm just trying to crawl my way through, but doing it in as smart a manner as I can. So when I get to 30 and start doing ranked, I've been building up this knowledge base and understanding of the game to make it me more successful, or more importantly, to be a good member of a team, so that way I can make sure that we can actually start competing and doing fun stuff. And that kind of what the game's about. So do me a solid, hit the like button. It really helps me out and also just shows me how many people are engaged and enjoy the video. And like, comment, subscribe, the whole thing. And guys, thank you very much. Talk to you guys soon. See ya.